I think that Reince Priebus, who's a good friend of mine, is in deep denial about the significance. Look, the fight over the nomination is over. Now we have the fight for the soul of the party. I mean, the reality is that, Donald Trump is a serial liar. He's a race baiter. He's a xenophobe, somebody who mocks the disabled, who mocks women. And Republicans who roll over, who think this is business as usual, are going to own all of that. And I want them to think about this over the next 6 months, that every slur, every insult, every outrage, every lie, every wacky conspiracy theory, they're going to have to defend, they're going to have to rationalize, or they're going to have to evade. And, the reality is that at some point you have to step back and go, okay, look, this race is over in terms of, I think, who wins the presidential election. But principled conservatives have to ask themselves, are they willing to sell their integrity for this guy? Because it's going to be very hard for a lot of Republicans to walk back after this is over and say to minorities, say to women, say to young people, that's not us. That's not who we are. Because you know what? If they back Donald Trump, that is who they are. And that it's going to be very, very hard for them to wipe the stink of that. That's why, I know that people are mad at Never Trump right now, but, there's got to be some folks who are going to have the credibility to come after all of this is over to pick up the pieces and say, you know what? Trumpism is not conservatism. That is not who we are. This was an aberration.
Charlie, what are you going to do? Do you know what you're going to do with your vote in November? Will you vote for a libertarian candidate? Will you simply leave the presidential ballot blank and vote the rest of the ballot?
That's an excellent question. I mean, I'm hoping that I understand that it's unlikely. I hope there's a principled third-party conservative alternative. I'm going to look at the Libertarian Party. I may have to write in somebody. But the reality is that, look, I can't control the outcome. What I can control is my conscience, and I'm not going to be voting for Donald Trump. I'm also not going to be voting for Hillary Clinton. I mean, I've been criticizing Hillary Clinton back in the days when Donald Trump was giving her big bucks. But at this point, I do think that conservatives have to ask themselves fundamental issues. At what point does party loyalty trump the recognition that this man is absolutely and completely unsuited to be the president of the United States? I mean, how do you walk back some of the things that people have said about Donald Trump and say, yes, but we should put him in the Oval Office? Look, I mean, I think it's scary enough that we might actually give this man the nuclear codes, much less put him in charge of the IRS or the FBI or the FCC. And I think this is something people need to think about very, very, seriously between now and November.
Michael Steele, Mark Salter has decided how he's going to vote in November. He's a former top aide to John McCain. He tweeted, the GOP is going to nominate for president a guy who reads the National Enquirer and thinks it's on the level. I'm with her. So Michael, he's going all the way over to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, God bless them. And that's, that's what makes this a big party and a great country. You get to make that decision. You really do. You get to decide for yourself and assess Hillary and Donald Trump. And clearly so far in this Republican primary, a lot of Republicans, some over 10 million of them, have assessed themselves favorably towards Trump. I mean, I understand exactly what everything that's just been said. My question is, where was all of that back in June, August of last year? Where was that as the party was going through these lurches back in the 2004s, 2006s, which then bore out from that the Tea Party? Let me finish the point. I know you were there.
I was calling that out.
Let me finish the point. The point is, I'm not questioning where people were per se. What I'm saying is this is not a space that we are unfamiliar with. This has been growing inside the party for a long time. And the establishment types.
This is where Mr. Steele is wrong.
Okay,
this is new. This is new. The
Republican Party, Trump is new. Let Michael finish his point, and then we're going to come back to Charlie.
Trump is new, Charlie. Trump is new. But the anger, the frustration, the pissed off nature of the base is not. I sat in the rooms with them. I remember the first group of Tea Parties coming to Washington in April of 2009 to meet with the chairman to complain about where the party was. So I get what you're saying. Trump is new, but the anger is not. And that's the piece that the establishment and others have misjudged from the very beginning, including the Stop Trump people.
Charlie Sykes, a quick last word. Go ahead.
Okay, so the anger is real, but what's happening is that this con man has, I think, hijacked it, and he has distorted it. He wants to run on the issue of Hillary's judgment, and I'm glad you brought up the fact that here is a man who just yesterday was citing the National Enquirer to say that Ted Cruz's dad was involved in the JFK assassination. I wish he'd been asked about that. He's a guy that peddles birther conspiracy theories, vaccine wacky notions. He's a 9/11 truther. This is the man the Republican Party is putting up to be president of the United States. Yes, the anger is real. I share the anger, but this is new. This is not business